Okay, we're now recording. So, hi everybody who's listening to the Q&A on repeat. Welcome. I didn't forget to hit the recording button, and I haven't already answered a question, I promise. Although I didn't really have an answer to the question, so you didn't miss much. It was like, how can I stop getting hip flexor pain? And my answer was, I don't know. So let's just pretend that that didn't happen, and let's go on with the next question. Right. So I'll read it again very quickly for those watching the recording. So Sandra has done 4 of my programs. Whenever she uses the Sculpted Menopause App calculator to build muscle, it gives her a lot of calories. She's petrified of eating lots of calories consistently. And she says she's incredibly fatigued after training now, and she often needs to nap during the day, even though she's sleeping well at night. Can lack of energy be due to eating in a calorie deficit for too long? Can you explain the best way to build muscle? There's so much in this question, so I'm going to have to try and break it down into little bits. So much I could say to do with this question. So first of all, let's go from the start. The macro calculator will give you the traditional amounts that you would find on most macro calculators or on the internet for gaining muscle or, eating in a calorie surplus. Let me explain what the traditional thinking about building muscle is for, let's say, a traditional bodybuilder. And I'm going to separate that out from a traditional bodybuilder to a menopausal woman who is not looking to compete on stage. And this is going to make an absolutely epic kind of mini masterclass. So let's go. I wish I had notes. Whenever I was training on the stage, the school of thought was always, you need to eat in a calorie surplus in order to build muscle. And that is kind of true. It is true, but it's not the whole truth. The reason why people suggest eating in a calorie deficit to build muscle is because, or calorie surplus to build muscle, is that if you want to always make sure that your muscles are getting enough fuel to build and repair everything that they need in order to grow as big as they can. Food is nature's natural anabolic. So food and rest and regular training with, overstimulating the muscle beyond what it is currently capable of doing, those are the best, most consistent, reliable ways to build muscle. And so the school of thought on building muscle that you need to eat in a calorie surplus really came from the professional bodybuilders. So professional bodybuilders compete in maybe 1 or 2 shows, a couple of different shows in one season of the year. So whenever I was competing, I usually competed between, say, April and June. One year I did a show in April, another one in May, and another one in June. So I was basically dieting for those 3 months, dieting quite hard and doing cardio for those 3 months and for the months leading up to it. So my show the previous year had been in April. So between April of the previous year and January of the next year, I focused hard on building muscle because I knew that come January, I was going to start a slow, steady shred to lose all of the body fat that I had gained to get ready for the stage. So bodybuilders will sacrifice condition for muscle mass. And that is the cycle that a bodybuilder will go through. I will try and get everything in line to build as much muscle as I can in the period between my last show and dieting for my new show. Of course, I will still try and build muscle, in the period of dieting. And I always did build muscle between, say, January and April whenever I stood on stage. But your goal for those 8, 9 short months is to build as much muscle as possible. So because that's your goal, you never want to leave anything on the table. You're willing to sacrifice some extra body fat for the fact that you may gain more muscle. So how does it even work eating in a calorie surplus? Well, the school of thought is that if you have enough calories left over after your body has built and repaired everything to put on body fat, then your body has gotten everything that it needed to build and repair, because your body will take the food that you eat and build and repair with it first before it stores it in in fat. So if you have something left over for a calorie, to put into fat stores, it means that you have eaten enough to build and repair. There are a couple of things that are super important to know about this, though. Bodybuilders train very, very hard. Now, I don't know about bikini athletes. I did always compete on the stage in the bikini category, but I got far too big for the bikini category. I don't think bikini athletes eat in as much of a surplus or really focus as hard on building muscle unless they're, really focusing on bringing up a lagging body part like glutes or their shoulders or something. I don't know that they focus as hard on building muscle as the bigger categories do because it's not as important. And if you have too much muscle in a bikini category, they will penalize you. They will move you out of that category and up. I nearly got moved into the next category in my last show in bikini because I was just far too big for bikini. I'd really just put on so much muscle mass that I should not have been in the bikini category anymore at the very end. So if we're talking about the bigger muscle groups, the bigger bodybuilding categories, you want to put on as much muscle as you possibly can. And so you train as hard as you possibly can in the gym. There are virtually no competitive bodybuilders training by themselves. And that's a very important point. They're not training by themselves. They are training by themselves sometimes, but they have a trainer, they have a prep coach, they have someone designing their programs, they have someone looking at their body and saying, right, you need more glutes, you need more shoulders, you need more quads, whatever, okay? So they are being guided by a professional. They're quite often then being pushed hard in the gym by a professional. So they either have a trainer a couple of days a week or several days a week or at least once a week. They usually have a spotter for leg day, chest day, big compound lifts. So they are training way over and above the average person in terms of the output that they're getting from the work they're putting in. They're able to go to failure more. They're able to go beyond failure. They're able to get in forced reps, half reps, extra reps. And whenever their own motivation fails them, they have someone there to say, come on, one more rep, two more reps. You got this. I've got you. They have someone to give them that extra push, which is necessary to build muscle. So this is very important, guys. I want you to pay attention to this. So muscle is only built in the final reps of the final sets. Your muscle is only built when you reach failure and then go beyond failure. That doesn't always have to be with heavy load. It can be with extra time, extra volume. Like I'm sometimes doing my shoulder work here in my home workouts with 2.5 kilo dumbbells, 5.5 pound dumbbells. And my shoulders are toast because I'm doing so much intensive volume on them. So I'm going to failure, beyond failure. I'm pausing. I'm going again. I'm moving into biceps if I'm working shoulders for a minute, and then I'm going back into shoulders again. My shoulders are toast because I'm pushing way beyond failure. So whenever you're an athlete training in the gym to failure with a trainer and you're eating in surplus, you are going to give yourself the best possible chance of putting on body fat. Not body fat, muscle. And there will be a little left over for body fat. Here is where the average non-athlete person falls down with this. Most average non-athlete women are not training that way in the gym. They are not training to failure. They don't have a trainer designing a specific program for them to bring up lagging body parts. They don't have a trainer looking at their body and saying, okay, your shoulders are great, biceps are looking good, glutes need more work, quads need a better definition. So we're gonna tailor your program and I'm going to train you and push you harder to bring up more quads. They don't have anyone doing that. They're just following a gym program, usually a very robust gym program, especially if it's one of mine, but they're going into the gym and they're lifting weights and they're moving the weights around in a way that feels hard for them, but is rarely, and I would say this confidently, in 98% of women following a gym program are not lifting to failure. And they're certainly not going beyond failure. They're lifting to where it's hard, but they're not lifting to failure. Why are they not? Well, it's not that they're not trying. It's not that they're lacking in something. It's not that they're, not pushing hard enough. It's not that they're not willing to. It's that they're scared to. They don't know what true failure really is. They've never been pushed beyond their limits to experience what it feels like. They've never had a trainer or a spotter. So they're going into the gym and giving it their best shot. But their best shot isn't good enough. Their best shot isn't what is required to stimulate the muscle effectively to build muscle. So this is where this theory trips up, if you like. So then women come to me and they say, I think I should be eating in a calorie surplus. Eating it to build muscle. Eating in a calorie surplus only works if you are training to failure and beyond failure. Otherwise, you just get fat. And this, I think, is where I'm hearing all of this information on the internet where everyone's like, oh, if women would just eat more food, they would put on more muscle. No, that is so wrong. It's so wrong. If women would just train harder, they would put on more muscle. And when you train harder, you naturally just want to eat a bit more. Or the food that you're already eating, most women are eating in a calorie surplus anyway, let's be honest. So the food that they're eating will go naturally into the muscle. So people think that if you just eat more food and train in the gym, you'll put on more muscle. It's not true. You always have to increase the intensity of your workouts first before you would ever think of eating more food. And that means trying for 1 more rep, 2 more reps, 3 more reps, failure reps, forced reps, half reps, drop sets, pause sets, like whatever it takes to fail, pause, go again, fail, stop, go again, fail, have a spotter step in and say, come on, let's go for negatives. Like, that's what it takes to stimulate the muscle beyond what it is currently capable of doing. Because whenever you go into the gym and you do 10 reps of a weight that is reasonably challenging and then you stop, you had enough muscle to move those 10 reps. So your body will not give you participation muscle. Your body will not say, well, she tried really hard today. So because she tried really hard, we'll just give her a little bit of extra muscle. No, the body does not reward you for trying. The body goes, oh, okay. Oh, hang on. We're waking up here. Yep. Okay. 10. Yep. She's going for a 10th. Do we have enough muscle, boys? Yep, we do. Great. Do we need... Oh, no, she stopped. Great. Okay, fantastic. Right, great. We had enough workers, enough muscle cells to move those 10 reps. Fantastic. Don't need any more. Boys, all right. Don't need you. We were ready to call in the relief staff, but we don't need any extra staff. She had the muscle. Totally fine. So your body didn't need to call in any other muscle fibers. Your body didn't go, wow, she's really pushing it now. So like we better give her some more muscle because next week when she comes in, this is what we have to expect. So right, boys, we need to bring in the reinforcements. Okay. Or girls, we need to bring in reinforcements. Does this make sense? Like your body won't give you extra muscle for trying. Your body will only give you extra muscle if you're training beyond what you're currently capable of doing, which most women are not. So my beef, if you like, or my tofu, should I say, with the whole you should eat in a calorie deficit to build muscle is that there's a massive missing chunk of information first, which is, are you actually training to failure? Are you going beyond failure? Because if you're not, eating more won't do shit. Literally will not. It won't do jack shit. Nothing. All you will do is get fat and then you will be depressed. So the other thing that you have to consider is, what is it that you want? A lot of people say, I want more muscle and I want more muscle quicker. And so they think, well, if I just eat more food, because that's what everyone on the internet is saying, right? All the gym bros are saying if women just ate more food, then they would build more muscle. And there's a whole missing piece of data before that. So they think, well, I want to build muscle quickly, so I'll just eat more food. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why maybe that's why I'm not putting on muscle fast enough, because I'm not eating enough. God, if only I had known that before. And they're not thinking, maybe I'm not putting on muscle because I'm not training hard enough. I don't know where we got confused in our social media sound bath that it was actually food that made you put on muscle, not training. I would love to change the narrative to, if women just trained harder, they would put on more muscle. Rather than you need to eat more food to put on more muscle, I would love to change the narrative to, you need to train harder to put on muscle. But nobody latches on to that, right? Nobody really wants to hear that. Everyone wants to hear you need to eat more food, because eating food is just wonderful. And we would love to be told if you just eat more food, you'll put on more muscle, because because it's easy to eat more food. It's very hard to train harder. But what you need to do to put on more muscle is you need to train harder. And I'm not really shouting at you, Sandra, when I'm saying this, just FYI. I'm telling, anyone who's listening to this, and I definitely will put this rant out in a podcast as well, because it's so important. You need to train harder. So being in a calorie deficit for a long time will not cause you to be more fatigued, and it will not cause you to not build muscle. I build muscle in a calorie deficit every single day. What builds the muscle keeps the muscle. That's what I always say. Well, that's actually what Mark Getty says. I stole it from him, my trainer, or whenever I trained in the gym. So all you need to do to build muscle is show up consistently for a long ass period of time. A long period of time. Far, far, far longer than you would ever believe or want to be possible. And that is the shit that nobody tells you. And that is the hard, horrible truth that nobody wants to hear. It's not that you're not eating enough. It's not that you don't take creatine. It's not that your sleep is all over the place. It's not anything other than you're probably not training hard enough and you're probably not being patient enough. 3 years. 3 years to transform your body. In 1 year, if you're training to failure and beyond consistently, and you're eating good food and you're resting, because muscles only grow when you're resting. They don't grow in the gym. They only grow when you're resting. So if you're resting enough, you're taking regular weeks off to allow your body to recover, and you are training hard and consistently, muscle will grow. You will see a difference in a year. A difference in a year. But you'll probably look in the mirror in a year and say, God, I thought I would have achieved so much more by now. You'll be happy that you can see differences, but you definitely won't be transformed. After year 2, you'll notice a lot more differences. You'll say, wow, my body really has changed now. I'm getting closer to where I want to be. After year 3, you probably still won't be 100% happy, but you'll say, I have a completely different body. After year 5, you'll have a totally different body. After year 10, you'll probably look in the mirror and say, yes, okay, now I'm in maintenance. Now I've arrived and I'm in maintenance. 10 years. It's horrifying. It's horrifying how long it takes. So you don't need to eat more, Sandra. You don't need more food. You just need more patience. And you were saying at the end of this that your the weight increments you're lifting now are micro increases. That's normal. Like, I haven't increased my bench press in years. I mean, years. Because I was at my max. I don't really bench anymore in the gym. But when I benched in the gym, I was benching 70 kilos, which is about, don't do the math for you, 154 pounds, right? For like 5 reps. And then the rest were spotted reps. Took me 9 years, 10 years to get to 70 kilos. I started at 20. So did I start 20? I started about 30. I think 30 was my top set in a bench press. So let me just work that out for you. So that's 4 kilograms a year. I increased my bench press by 8.8 pounds per year. Let's break that down even further. That's 0.73 pounds per month. That's how much I increased my bench press. So I was adding less than 1 pound per month to my bench press, and it wasn't linear like that. So it takes a long time to increase your lifts. Once you get to the top of your potential, what you're looking for is to increase your lifts in 3 different ways. The first one is by adding more load. If you're maxed out on load and you can't do any more, then the second is to add more volume. Can you do 1 more rep? Can you do a negative rep? Let's say you fail on, let's say you're bench pressing, right? And let's say you fail, or let's say you're shoulder pressing. It's easier for me because of the way my mic is. So let's say you're shoulder pressing, right? You do like 7 reps, right? Really heavy weight, 7 reps. Boom, you get to here. Do I have another one? You do. Okay. Slow down the negative. Do I have 1 more? Your arms are wiggling. Do you? You get to about here. You're not sure if you'll get it up. You're wobbling now, and one arm's going up, and you get it to the top, but you know you're not getting another one, right? Can you lower with control? Let's say you had a spotter now. Let's say you had a spotter. So let's say now you're focusing on the negatives. Lower with control. Okay, so you lower it down with control. Let's say you don't have a spotter. What do you do with those dumbbells? Boom, throw them on the floor, pick up 2 more dumbbells. Lighter ones. Now you push it up and you're thinking, it was still pretty hard. Lower it down. Do I have 1 more? You're pushing it up. Oh, those are getting pretty hard. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You get it to the top. Can I lower it with control? Yes, I can. What do you do now? Boom, throw the dumbbells down. Pick up another set of lighter dumbbells. Maybe now you're on 5-pound dumbbells. Do you have 1 or 2 more reps? Total muscle burn. Yes, I have 2. Boom, I'm done. That's failure. So that's a drop set. That's failure. Most people get to like 6 reps. Oh, that was really hard. And then they throw them down. Oh, I'll try for another rep next week. They never think of lightening, of dropping the weight and going lighter and just continuing through the pain. That's where you can add more load. That's where you can add more stimulus without necessarily adding more load. There's always a way that you can add more stimulus. It could be, do I have one more rep? Maybe you had a spotter, right? So maybe the spotter then pushes them up, and then maybe you're getting the negative rep, and then you go to push it, and the spotter gets your elbows, and they help you push it to the top, but you lower it down with control. Your arms are still moving, right? And once you get to the point where your arms are falling down, then you've failed. There's no point in going in anymore, right? That's all that's required. So you have to progressively overload your muscles in whatever way you can. But it's hard as shit. Like it requires time and discipline. And when you're done and you reach the 8th rep, you want to be done, right? You're like, 8 reps. Nobody wants to pick up more dumbbells and squeeze out another 2 and pick up more and squeeze out another 2. No one wants to do that. They want to be finished at 8. And they want to believe it's enough. You do. We all want to believe it's enough. We want to believe, oh yeah, okay, well, it's at 8 to 10 reps and I got to 8. So boom, yeah, go me. No, that's not what the muscle responds to. So don't worry about incremental, tiny little weights over time. Like that's a really good thing. You're always looking to progressively overload in some way. That's why I love the dumbbell workouts that we're doing at the minute, because women are managing to progressively overload their muscles through just adding a little more stimulus, like adding a band or adding an active rest. Like the workouts we're recording at the minute, there literally is no rest. You go from, say, from heel elevated squat to RDL for a minute. So 1 minute, 1 minute, and then back to heel elevated squat, 1 minute, back to RDL, 1 minute, back to the squat, back to the RDL. Then you get a rest. We're going for 6 continuous minutes, sometimes more, or between 4 and 8 continuous minutes before you get a rest. Now you can rest if you need to, but that is overstimulating the muscle. And then during those continuous minutes, you aim to, lift slightly heavier each time, or get in a few more reps each time. Or maybe the first time you do it, you can only get to 30 seconds. You can't even get to the minute. But then the next time, then you're working, as you work through the program, maybe you get to 40 seconds, 45 seconds, 50 seconds. So you have all of these opportunities for growth with using dumbbells, with using more reps, with using more time within these timed sets that we're doing, which is why they're getting such incredible results. And then also your heart rate is high because your metabolic burn is high. So you're burning body fat at the same time. Like, it's just amazing. I'm just loving my body on these workouts. So let me look at the rest of your question. You were saying, can lack of energy be due to eating in a calorie deficit for too long? Probably not, because there's a lot of people who eat in a calorie deficit and train very hard and they don't lack in energy. Me being one of them, honestly. Like, I sleep really well at night. I eat very few calories these days. Like, honestly, my calorie intake is so low at the minute because I love being thin. I'm not afraid to say it. I love being lean. I love my body. I love having abs. I love having sculpted shoulders. I love having muscle definition in my legs. And I have now figured out that in order for me to maintain this, because I'm still training heavy and consistently, so my body will not lose the muscle that it has, because what builds the muscle keeps the muscle. But now I'm eating in maintenance mode, and I'm eating very low calories in maintenance mode. And a lot of women have muscle. It's just hidden by a layer of body fat. So what I always say is, why don't you get the body fat off first? Get it off first and see what you have under there. And then once you can see sculpted shoulders, sculpted legs, sculpted glutes, a muscular back, once you can see what you have, then you kind of know what you're working with. So a lot of women will say, I don't want to increase my calories to build more muscle because I don't want to put on any body fat. But you wouldn't be scared of doing that if you were already lean. So get super lean first. Get as lean as you can get. That's what I always say. Keep building the muscle. Keep working hard. Keep lifting your weights. Your muscle will grow even in a calorie deficit as long as you're sleeping, you're eating enough protein, you're eating consistently, and you're training hard and consistently. That's the most important thing. Training hard and consistently is genuinely the most important thing. If you're doing those, your muscle will grow. So strip off all the body fat, see what's under there, and then decide from there. So if you're lacking in energy, it could be that you're just maybe not resting enough, or it could be hormones, or it could be like, I can tell you, I was constantly tired before I started HRT. And then whenever I started the GLP-1s and the testosterone, my energy went through the roof. I don't suffer from any energy crashes now. I don't suffer from any fatigue, no brain fog, nothing. I literally have the body and the energy of a 20-year-old. And I can promise you, Sandra, that I am training harder than you. So quite often, lack of energy is not to do with low calories, unless you're on like seriously low calories. Like if you were eating 500 calories a day, then I would say, okay, maybe your lack of lack of calories is due to your energy. Sorry, what is it you're saying? Lack of energy is maybe due to eating in too much of a calorie deficit. But if you're eating over 1,400 calories a day, it's probably not due to that. It's probably due to some kind of other hormonal issue, age-related issue, could be stress, could be a mental fatigue. So many other factors come into it. But it's very, very rarely that you're training too much and eating too little, unless you're on very low calories and an enormous output of training volume. And then the other thing you have to consider is the more you train, the fitter you get. Could also be that you're just fatigued. Like if you're doing the 5-day advanced training program from the app and you're doing that consistently, it could just be that you're bored of it as well. You know, whenever I was training in the gym, I got to the stage where I was like, oh, I just can't be arsed with this. You know, I really just couldn't be bothered with it. I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. I knew that my only goal when I went into the gym was to lift, really heavy and really, push as hard as I could. And now I'm just enjoying this variety of exercises, this variety of moving my body and trying new things and functional strength. And I'm enjoying seeing what my body can do and how much it can move and how strong and in balance it is these days. So I have this real, I've fallen back in love with training again. And training should be something that you love. Training should be something that you enjoy doing. And like years ago, I had a completely different stance on this, as many of you will know. I used to say, that the gym should not be your happy place. The gym is the place where you go to work. And like that is true. It is a place where you go to work. But I think that as you get to our age, there's something about just, wanting to stay strong as you get older. There comes a point, I'm afraid, where you stop being a sex symbol. Do you know what I mean? Whenever you're younger, you're like, I just want to look so good in a bikini and have all the boys, fancy me. And then you reach our age and you're like, I just want to be able to get out of bed in the morning or get up from the floor if I have to get down there. It's really it becomes that, right? Because you're not a sex symbol anymore. Let's face it. We're not. And if you try to be, you just look a bit silly. So I think we start to train differently whenever we get a bit older. And for me, that's what my training is all geared towards now. It's about being in balance, keeping my body healthy, keeping it fit. It's not about looking like a bodybuilder anymore. It's not about competing on stage. It's about training for the stage of life that I'm in. And the stage of life that I'm in is about enjoying my workouts, doing what feels good in the moment, but feels good after, doing what doesn't hurt my body. Because let's face it, your body hurts anyway in menopause. Like, oh, my feet, actually, since I switched from Ozempic to tirzepatide, which I did recently because the Ozempic was triggering my herpes virus, my feet have started to hurt again. And I'm like, I don't want to increase my tirzepatide dose because it isn't as effective at inflammation. And I've just noticed my feet hurting the last few days. So I think I'm going to go back on the Ozempic and just stay with the, I had to take antivirals regularly whenever I was on it. But I think I'm going to go back on it because the tirzepatide just doesn't, for me, have the same anti-inflammatory benefits, although it is still good. So anyway, I digress. There could be other reasons I would hypothesize that you're feeling low in energy and that you're not feeling great. And it's probably very little to do with how much you're eating and how much you're training. But I would consider looking at maybe changing your training. If that could be the thing, it might just be you need something, a bit more, you just need to switch it up a little. Could be that you need a week off. Like, when was the last time you took a week off? I take weeks off regularly. I'm going skiing in 2 weeks on the 13th of December, and I will not train when I'm away. People always ask me, do you train? I'm like, no, I do not. I'm going to be skiing downhill like every day. It's bloody cardio and quad workouts. So I am not going to be training. I never train when I'm away. I just relax, drink loads of wine or champagne because I'm in France, and spend loads of time with my family. And that is what I do. So sometimes you just need to take a complete mental and physical break, take a week off, enjoy your time with your family, and that will bring your energy back. So great question. Thank you so much for asking it. And thank you for letting me go into a bit of a rant about it. To sum up, you don't need more calories. You really don't. And you certainly don't need more calories to build more muscle. You just need to train harder probably, and be patient is usually what it takes. Okay, Sheila Emery. I'm loving your strength workouts. What can be done for crepey skin on my arms? Sheila, very little. I hate to tell you. This is like the Q&A, which is the bearer of bad news. There's very little you can do. When you get older and your skin sags and gets crepey, very little you can do about it. I think that your skin is a result of genetics and life choices. Good skin, there's a lot of good skin is genetic, right? But there is a lot of it as life choices as well. So if you have come to fitness slightly later in life and you haven't maybe had the best diet your whole life, and you certainly haven't been training consistently, and you haven't been doing loads of cardio, you haven't prioritized a fit and healthy lifestyle. Maybe you've come to diet and training a little later in life, maybe in your 50s or your 60s. You can't expect miracles. Your skin will be a result of your environmental choices, your physical choices, and also your genetics. So if you have lived in a country that is very hot, for example, like my parents-in-law live in Australia, my mother-in-law's skin is very kind of leathery and kind of wrinkled, right? Compared to my mum's, for example. My mum's skin, we've lived in Northern Ireland our whole life. My mum's skin is very soft and plump, and although she has sunbathed a lot in her life, we don't have those same environmental things going on or whatever that they do in Australia. And so because my parents-in-law have had a lot of sun exposure, their skin is very, very, very different to my mum and my dad's skin, for example, because we haven't had the same exposure to the sun. There is nothing that my mother-in-law could ever do to get rid of her crepey skin. And now she's going to be 80 next year, so she looks phenomenal for her age. But unfortunately, she has spent a lot of her life overweight, and she's lost a lot of weight now, but the loose skin is just a result of it. There's very little that can be done as you get older because the collagen in your skin just goes. It's the best way I can describe it. And yeah, what you can do is build muscle to fill out the skin. You can keep it really well moisturized. That's another good thing. But also just, again, it's the old adages of drinking lots of water, eating really good nutrient dense food. Another thing that really boosts collagen production in the body is the peptide GHK-CU. It's a copper derivative peptide. You can buy it on the grey market, I believe, for research only. I don't think it's pharmaceutical tested, but it's pretty widely available. So GHK-CU is the peptide that it's called. Really good for collagen production. I haven't tried it yet, but I have it on order, so I'm going to be trying it. But I have been researching it and looking into it a lot. Incredible for your skin, your hair, your nails, and repair basically of tissue, but also for collagen production. So I am excited to try that one. So if you're not adverse to peptides, definitely look into the GHK-CU as well, because that will help collagen production, which will help everything in the body. It could help the skin, but you're just going to have to learn to love it, unfortunately, is the sad answer. And if you eat well and train well and build muscle, it probably will smooth out as well. So that's the only advice I can give you. Okay, Laurie, lovely Laurie has a question. She says, you spoke about Lusotan yesterday and mentioned the guide color. I do the exfoliating, the primer, and then the instant tan. What should I be doing? So the guide color, Laurie, is what they put into the tan that develops over time. So whenever you have the what's it called, the rapid tan mousse or the ultra dark tan or whatever the different tans that they provide, one that develops over time is actually clear. The tan itself is clear, and then it slowly develops over 8 hours. They put a guide color in it so that you can see where you're putting the tan whenever you put it on, but then you wash the guide color off. So whenever I put on my tan, I always look darker. I get darker and darker and darker and darker as the day goes on because the tan develops underneath the guide color. So when you first put it on, you do look brown because you look like you've put a layer of tan on because there is a guide color so you can see where you're putting it so you don't end up with like streaks and patches everywhere. but then later on in the shower, you would wash off the guide color. So if you're using an instant tan, I mean, I do have an instant tan from Luso and I've used it a couple of times, but the problem is it literally leaks and runs over everything whenever I'm training, and it just does not it's not good because I'm sweating so much. If you don't sweat a lot, it's perfect, but if you do sweat a lot, it's not the best choice. So instant tan though is still quite good. I would only ever use it like if I needed a bit of tan on my legs or something, if I was going out and I needed a quick fix. But otherwise, you're better to get the one that develops over a couple of days. You exfoliate and prep your skin, and then you put it on, and then you let it develop, and then you wash that guide color off, and then you can put another layer on. So I would recommend about 2 layers for the after photos, unless your skin is already, has a good color anyway. Like if you have any like, I'm trying to think of the word, like I have very, very, very white skin, but if you have any kind of darkness in skin in your family and you have like a naturally dark tone to your skin anyway, you might not need 2 layers of it. You might only need 1. I just can't get my brain to function today. I can't think what I'm trying to say, but hopefully that makes sense. But that's what the guide color means. Okay, Megan Costantino. Just wanted to give thanks. Oh, thank you. This is just a wee message of tribute. I did your Butt Camp 3.0 to get myself ready for ankle surgery. That is keeping me from putting any weight on that leg. By getting my lower half stronger has been huge. I will be able to do upper body starting this coming week. If I purchase your program that just came out, will I have access to it at a later time? Thank you for making these home workouts. That's all I've ever done, and yours are really great. I love hearing that, Megan. Thank you so much. Yes, so I think you mean the holiday shred. The holiday shred, the price, it's actually closing today. We always keep it open for like a few more hours because to allow for time zones, and then because the Pacific is like 8 hours behind us. So it's so funny how everybody leaves everything to the last minute. I think we sold like 150 of them overnight. Everyone's like, panic, like need to purchase quickly. So the holiday shred, once you purchase it, is yours for life. Yes, I know that a lot of the women after Buns and Guns are going to move into the holiday shred. We have like a Facebook group for it, and I know that once Buns and Guns finishes, then it's going to be really fun in there. Everyone's going to be like posting their holiday pictures and posting, their recipe things, and the coaches are going to be in there coaching. So it's just a way to keep the party going over the Christmas period. But of course, you guys have the app, so we always have the community in there anyway. The party's always in there, although not everybody's great at using the community. But the holiday shred is definitely available to purchase. A lot of people will move into that one. We have created banded workouts, 30-minute strength workouts, 15-minute strength workouts, and cardio workouts as well. So you have like a pick and mix that you can use to just go with whatever time you have over the holidays. It's really just let's focus on family and friends and lovely things to do over the holidays, but also let's not completely forget about fitness. And so the meal plans are designed to be low calorie, so you can kind of pick and mix off them, knowing that anything that you choose off them is going to be supporting your health and fitness goals. And then you leave that extra kind of 20% of the time to be, eating and drinking and partying with friends, knowing that you have it dialed in 80% of the time. Because really, let's face it, the holidays are not for being dialed in 100% of the time. If you can be dialed in, if you can be dialed in 50% of the time, you're doing well, but like 80% of the time on during the holiday season is absolutely perfect. I mean, I will be training during the holiday season, but I probably won't come to the office here and train. I'll train at home in my home gym. In fact, I definitely train at home in my home gym, but I will train all with dumbbells. I may do some like leg exercises on like the hack squat or something, but I'll probably come up with weird and wonderful things that I can do rather than doing the traditional stuff that I used to do. So you just got to do what feels good over the holidays, and that's what the holiday shred is for. And yes, it is still available, and it will be, and you will have lifetime access to it whenever it is finished. And then Laura, you were just giving me a wee update 7 days ago that your brain MRI is stable, and you will need a follow up in 2 years, which is fantastic. So we're very happy to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I did see that in the group, and I thought, I think I left a wee message for you anyway. So. Well, that is all of the questions from the app. So let me just check the chat here and see if what we have got. Yes, you can absolutely still ask a question. No problem. Shazinaz. Mia is saying, I just want to say, I love the app. I love that you love it. Thank you so much. Laurie's saying HRT is a game changer. Yes, it really is. HRT and GLP-1s together is a game changer. And then Laurie's also saying she's been on 1,200 calories for over 5 months and able to put on a ton of muscle to failure and beyond. Yes. So, and then everyone else was just saying hello. So showed my app to the physio and she loved it. Oh, I love that. Excellent. Always nice to get a little bit of professional, professional validation, which is phenomenal. So, and if you loved this app, I don't know how many of you listened to the Q&A last week, but I talked a lot about the app and the new direction of it and where we're going with it and Be Sculpted and that kind of stuff. And if you love this app, you're definitely going to love Be Sculpted, let me tell you. Do you know what I think I'm going to do? Will you hear this? I said to Natasha today, I said, Tasha, I think I'm going to bring leg warmers back. I'm going to bring leg warmers back. I mean, because everyone of our generation understands leg warmers, right? And we all, like, I used to love my leg warmers. And so here's what happened today. I put on my warm socks. Here's how my day went. I get up this morning, got everything done. And then I thought, I'll take Buddy for a quick walk and get him out and get him so we can have a poop. And so I thought, whenever I was out walking, I thought, I'll just walk past the office because my office is quite close to my house. So I'll walk past the office and I'll pop in and I'll have a cup of tea with Natasha. So, and then I'll, go back home and I'll get all my stuff done because I work from home a lot. If I'm in the office, everyone comes in to chat to me. So I'm like, I quite often just stay out of here so I can get my work done. So whenever I was walking, what do you say? I put on my furry socks because it's very cold here, right? So look, I have my furry socks on. So I put on my furry socks and my shoes and I thought, and then I said to Natasha, I said earlier on, I was like, what? I really want to bring something back for like, especially for Be Sculpted, that's kind of like the signature look. And I really think I'm going to bring back leg warmers. I do. I think I'm going to start wearing leg warmers in all of my workouts. I'm going to get them in every color and I'm going to literally start wearing leg warmers. Even if I'm wearing shorts, I'm going to put leg warmers on. And then hopefully we'll start like a leg warmer trend. And then people will start associating that with Be Sculpted. They'll be like, oh, she's the Be Sculpted girl because she's wearing leg warmers. And we can all be posting pictures of ourselves in leg warmers. Like, you know the way everyone's wearing leggings with their socks over them now? Like, I don't know whether you've seen it. Everyone's wearing these white socks over their leggings, all the young ones. Well, I've decided that we should bring back leg warmers. So I think that if you see me in leg warmers from now on, then you'll know why. Because Kim's decided she's going to bring back leg warmers. So that was my thought today. Right, let me see a couple of these questions. What do you think the main difference in training workout versus gym that got you the change in shape recently? I'm just curious to learn this. So I posted a picture today and I'll show it to you guys. And I go, oh my God, Facebook just astonishes me. I got so much hate on Facebook. Not so much. I got loads of positive stuff, but people are so triggered. So I put up this picture. Okay. And this was just me this morning sitting at my desk. That picture came up on Facebook of a year ago, the one in the blue. And then that was taken from a video that I was recording the other day. Okay. So I thought, oh, I'm going to put up this picture and talk about how, because I just looked at it, I thought, wow, my body has changed so much. And not only has it changed on the outside, I feel so much better. So I put up a post saying how left picture is on the left picture is a year ago, right picture is a couple of days ago. Here is what I have learned. And I went on to say, I used to push really heavy weights in the gym. I was always pushing for, bigger weights. I was, strong physically, but not, I had big muscles, but like I wasn't functionally strong. So a year ago, I decided to change up my training. And who knew that the secret to, changing my body lay in functional, strength and fitness? Because now, and the point of the post was, my body doesn't hurt anymore. I have balance in my body. My left shoulder used to sit higher, used to sit like this, because whenever you're using machines and everything is static, your feet are pushing together, your arms are pushing together. When you're not using free weights, you will always push with the stronger side, always. And so my obliques were very tight on my right-hand side, which was pulling my body down because I'm always going to push with my dominant side more than my non-dominant side. And I remember a physio telling me that before. They said, no matter how much you think that you're keeping something in balance, when you're using a Smith machine to do all of your work, when you're using machines to do all of your work, your dominant side of your body is going to be stronger. And it's going to cause issues later on in life. And I just thought recently with all of the single leg work, all of the lunge work, the curtsy squats, the lateral squats, yes, of course, we're doing regular squats too. All of the dumbbell work, all of the single arm work, because I'm not holding anything on a fixed plane anymore. The symmetry of my body is phenomenal. It is just completely transformed how I feel every day. And it's also transformed how my body looks. And so anyway, I didn't say it's transformed how my body looks. I said the point of the post was, I said how I've changed I've changed up my training to go from heavy weights, static loads, training in the gym, to functional strength and fitness, training for health and longevity, training to balance my muscles, balance my body, balance my hormones. And oh my God, I feel amazing. Well, what did I get hit with?
Well, you've forgotten to say that you're on Ozempic, and it's the Ozempic that's causing you. This is not a transformation. You had the muscle beforehand. This is misleading. I was called narcissistic. You're a narcissistic liar. Some woman was going on. I was like, oh, wow. It's like, I don't even think anyone even read the post. Like, I had loads of, really nice comments too, but some woman was like, you're beautiful on the outside, but shallow, narcissistic, and have no substance, and your clients will see through your bullshit. And I'm like, this is like insane. So, and it's all people going, you're microdosing, you're taking weight loss injections, and you're lying to everybody. And I'm like, holy God. So that was that. But it's funny how nobody actually, I don't think very few people actually read the post. Everybody they must have just skimmed it and saw left training in the gym, right training at home, saw the picture and made a big assumption without reading anything that I said that transformation came from, training at home. Other people were like, you didn't build that muscle training from home. You had it before. I'm like, yeah, I know. I said in the post, I built a lot of muscle, but I wasn't functionally strong. Like, did you even read the fucking post? But anyway, this is what I was like, Tasha, this is insane. Facebook, every time I post on Facebook, honestly, I'm just like disgusted by humanity. I lose faith in humanity sometimes because I don't know where these nasty cunts come from, but fuck me, they seem to come out of the woodwork on my Facebook page. So anyway, what am I trying to say? What is the main difference in my body? So fat loss. So there's a couple of differences. I don't have the same bulk of muscle that I had whenever I was training in the gym, because when I was training in the gym, it was heavy weights to failure. Everything was, for muscle. That every single exercise I did, how to get more back muscle, more chest muscle, more shoulder muscle, more leg muscle. Everything was about muscle. And so I had a thick trunk, okay? Because even though I didn't train any abs, I was constantly training all my back muscles, constantly training my lower back muscles, doing loads of lat pull downs and that kind of stuff. So I had a thickness to my body. And this is the biggest thing that people don't see. My body was thick all over. It was thick obliques, thick on the front, thick on the back, thick on the upper back, thick on my traps. Like, my traps were huge because some of the weights that I was doing were enormous. So I had these big traps on either side of my shoulders. So it just made me look bigger and bulkier. I had a big chest because I was doing heavy bench work. So my chest was huge. My chest muscles were huge. So the difference is I have lost muscle from training this way, but I haven't lost muscle. I've continued to work. And that's been the biggest difference. So my entire body shape has changed because the muscle that I'm working through training this way has continued to build and grow. The muscles that I'm not working have shrunk. Now, my muscle never dies. It just turns into myonuclei. If I started working that way again, it all just blow up again. So my body has shrunk muscle that's not being used and kept muscle or built muscle that is being used. My glutes are double the size. So my whole entire body shape has changed in response to the way I'm training now. My muscles are stronger, interestingly, but not as big because I'm not just pumping them for growth. I'm training them for functional strength. So just like a runner has very, very, very strong legs, but they don't have big bodybuilder's legs. A runner has very strong, compact, tight, dense leg muscles, but they're not necessarily super big. And that's the same as my muscles now. So my muscles have compacted and tightened and changed. I now have wider shoulders. I have so much less muscle on my trunk. My waist is tiny compared to what it used to be. Like, all my pants are falling off me because I used to have a thick waist, but now, like, my waist, I think I used to have about a 30 to 32 inch waist. And now my waist, I think, is about a 27. So I've lost, 5-6 inches off my waist. It's insane how much I've lost. But that's muscle. So my entire body shape has changed due to the training change. It's not that I have lost muscle, but it's not that I've lost muscle through lack of exercise. I've lost muscle through lack of training particular parts of my body. The other big, massive difference is body fat.
I have lost an insane amount of body fat. And all the Ozempic haters love to say it's because of Ozempic. And let me tell you, it does make you feel better. It does make it easier to cope whenever you're hungry, or because I am hungry a lot, right? Because I just don't have a lot of time to eat. So it does make all of those things easier. It makes your sleep better, so you recover better. But what people don't see on Facebook is I train more than anyone you will meet. Not anyone, but like I am training in here most days, two hours of training. Like not 2 continuous hours, but I do 2 sessions 5 days a week. So the buns and guns sessions that you guys are doing at the minute, I do 2 of those back to back with heavy weights. So it's not like I'm skimping on my weights because I'm doing 2 sessions. So every single day, 5 days a week, I'm doing 2 of those. Some days I'm also doing a cardio if we're recording cardio workouts. So I am doing an enormous amount of training, as well as walking the dog every day, as well as being active and around and on my feet. In the weekend, like I do 25,000 steps because I'm always active. And then the other thing is, because I'm training so much and I'm working so much and I'm doing so many of these calls and things, I don't get a lot of time to eat. So I eat a big breakfast. I eat very little during the day. And then I have dinner when I go home, and I usually have another meal before I go to bed. And that's it. So my calories are low. But my calories are low because I'm choosing to keep them low, not because Ozempic is crushing my appetite. I am starving by the time it comes to dinner. Like I'm usually quite hungry at lunch. And if I am starving, I'll have like a protein yogurt with a scoop of protein powder in it, or I'll have a protein yogurt and a banana. Like I keep banana. That one's been there since Friday. So it's a wee bit sorry for itself, that banana, but I'll still eat that. I don't care. So I'll have like a banana and a yogurt, and that's it. So that's all I'll eat during the day. But it's not because I'm sitting here starving myself. It's because I usually have another workout to record, and I can't eat a heavy meal just before I go and do workouts. So my body composition has changed because I'm burning an insane amount of body fat, but I'm not worried about losing muscle on low calories because I'm training my muscles really, really hard. So what builds the muscle keeps the muscle. If you can be on 500 calories a day, but still be training with, heavy weights, and you will still keep muscle. So I think that's just one of the biggest fallacies that I love to bust, and most women don't want to look like a big bodybuilder. Women want to look long and lean and muscular. And this kind of training that I'm doing now is what gives you that body. So it's what gives you that strong, athletic, feminine looking body where you're not bloated like a big bodybuilder. You're not carrying excess body fat. When I look at the women online that have the biggest followings that everybody wants to look like, they look feminine. They have lovely sculpted shoulders. They have 6-pack abs. They have lovely, long, lean, defined legs. They don't have these massive big butts. Everyone loves it. Oh, wow, she has lovely glutes. Look at her glutes. But do you ever look at a big professional bodybuilder with like a massive ass and think, Christ, I want to look like her? Maybe years ago when I was competing about it, but now I'm like, no, like I want to look feminine and strong and athletic. And I think that's the way I look now. But the difference has been the way I've changed up my training. So lower body fat, less muscle in the areas that I want less muscle in, and more muscle in the areas that make me look more feminine, and just generally happier all around. I think that is what has helped. Okay, team. Let me just see if there's anything else I can ask quickly. Michelle, if someone has large fibroids, would any exercises change to accommodate the pain? Honestly, I can't give you any advice on that, Michelle, because I do not have any experience with fibroids. I'm really sorry. I honestly don't know. I would love to give you advice, but I would just be guessing and hypothesizing, and I really don't know, so I'm sorry. My stepdaughter told me I looked jacked this weekend. We went to a sauna cold plunge event. Fantastic. I love that. Asha, I loved reading your post. And she says, when I did the 4-week shred in 2024, I did every possible exercise unilaterally and it felt like a hack. Fantastic. Carrie, I didn't think that at all when I saw it yesterday on Instagram. People are so weird. I know, Carrie, people are so weird. They see what they want to see, right? And I think that they see me looking the way I look, and they think, and they want to punish me for looking that way because they want to find the reason why they can't have it. It's like people who see, bodybuilders, right? And they see guys who are really in amazing shape and they go, oh yeah, well, he took steroids. And that somehow negates all of the work that he put in to look like that. If steroids gave you a body like that, you could literally just lie in bed, eat cheesy puffs, drink Lucozade or Coca-Cola, and take steroids. If steroids made you look like that, nobody would go to the gym. So it just negates the hard work. So people love to look at me, I think, and they love to find a reason why they can't have it too, because it just justifies their excuses for not doing it. I don't know. They just get triggered. I think it's the same reason people get triggered by rich people, because they look at where they are now. And my coach always says, what causes people to get angry with you is the further away they perceive they are from you, the angrier they are, the more suppressive they are. So if they're not doing, if they look at, if they're here and you're here just a little bit in front of them, well, then they're like, psst, they'll just have like a wee psst on you. But if they are here and you're here, then they'll go, liar, you got this. You look for all these reasons why, you know, they can't have what you can have, and they want to punish you and hurt you for having it, because you having it makes them feel bad about themselves. And I think that's just really what goes on. They feel bad about themselves, and this just triggers the bad feeling about themselves. And so they want to punish you for being the way you are, call you some kind of liar, and, you know, find the flaw in what you're saying, and you're misrepresenting or something, you know, and that makes them feel better. So, but anyway, if that makes them feel better, then go on. Let them do it. I don't care. I love it. Actually, it brings me so much joy. I love the haters. Like, I would be so sad if I didn't have any, because it just makes me laugh so much listening to their comments, because it's so idiotic. And I think they don't even realize just how insane they actually sound and how crazy they make themselves look. I think if they could see themselves, they would, yeah. They're like little children stomping their feet. I just honestly, whenever I see haters, I just imagine them being like little children going, you know, having like a wee temper tantrum and stomping their feet. And it just makes me giggle. But yeah, the hurtful comments just make me laugh. It's because it's like sticks and stones, right? You can call me a self-centered, egotistical narcissist, because I know I'm not. I just literally collapse into fits of laughter. It's like, you know, how many horrible words can I call her to try and hurt her? That's how you deal with haters. You just laugh at them. But whenever you get enough of them, you realize it doesn't matter. It's water off a duck's back to me. Right, I'm waffling now, so I'm going to go. Good to see you all. Thanks so much for being here. Loved our time together as always. Rona, thanks for the reminder to press record. And I will see you all next week for another Q&A. Oh, here, one thing before you'll go. I'm taking 3 weeks off. I'm really sorry. So there will be no Q&A from the 14th of December through to the 6th of January. So for those 3 weeks over the Christmas period, I'm taking the time off. I'm away skiing, and then I'm going to spend some time with my family. I'm not going to be doing any Q&As. So you're on your own. But you can tag me in the groups and I will definitely answer the questions. But I'm taking some time off because I need it. And I hope you don't begrudge me it. And then we will start back fresh in the new year. Okay. Love you all so much. Thanks for being here. Bye, guys. See you soon. Bye.